Kingsley's Adventure for the PS1 is an extremely deceiving game. The cover of it and the beginning FMV sequence makes you think that this is a childish kids game. This is not a children's game. I repeat, this is not a children's game. This is a game that will test your patience. I just about pulled my hair out before beating this game. There were some levels that were very doable, and then there were other levels that were just, I had nightmares. I got so angry at some of the levels in this game. While the game is very hard, the game isn't one of those games where you just know it's going to be impossible to beat. It's not one of those games where you just feel like you have to absolutely give up. You know, this isn't one of those games where you have no choice but to give up. It's really difficult, it's really frustrating, but you do realize that with enough tries, you can beat this game. And here's the opening FMV sequence. And it looks like, it looks like a nursery. I feel like I'm at a fucking preschool here, reading a book to a bunch of fucking kids. This makes the game look so cutesy, so cute, so precious, so adorable. This game isn't adorable, it's not precious, it's hard. It will test your patience. It will make you smack the nearest item to you. And somehow this little fucking fox is supposed to beat all these monsters. The voice acting in this game is disturbing. Here's my best impression of the voice acting in this game. It almost sounds like if you put your mouth up against a vagina and just started blowing. The voice acting and the characters in this game, words don't even come out of their mouths. You know what? Scratch all that. The voice acting in this game reminds me of women talking in general. When a woman talks, all us men hear is that. Alright, enough of that garbage. We are about to go through the beginning tutorial of the game. You will learn how to jump from platform to platform here. You will learn to attack, equip weapons, block, and do all that fun shit. Now, one of the things about this game that I can't say I liked was the turning. See that? It takes a long time to turn. You have to stop, turn, and you can't really turn in midair. And, it can be tedious at times. Sometimes it can be frustrating. The depth perception in this game can be very, very tricky. And, just downright frustrating. Okay, and here we learn to attack our enemies and block our enemies. And we're going to learn against an obese Snoopy. And there's not a lot of strategy here in the fights. In terms of not boss fights, there's good strategy in the boss fights. The boss fights are actually pretty good in this game. I don't have any complaints about that. But just fighting enemies in general on the levels there's just not a lot of strategy. It's block, attack, and it's basically the same thing over, wash, rinse, and repeat. You're gonna have to do a lot of blocking. If you don't block, you're gonna get hurt, and you're going to have a tough time moving on in the levels in this game. Alright, so why don't we fast forward, check out a later level in the game. Okay, and here's the first level. And this is right here, this enemy right here, the swordfish. This is basically what most of your enemies are going to do. About 80% of the enemies in this game are just going to guard, swing, guard, swing, guard, and swing. And you are going to basically have to obviously guard when they attack, and then they're going to start to guard themselves. So it's going to become a chess match of who will swing next, who can hit the fastest after the next guy guards, type of thing. Unless you're fighting, obviously, these little lobsters that come after you that are very harmless. And here we go. See, swings, I swing, I guard, he guards, I swing, he swings, I guard, I swing, and he goes down. That is basically the gist of the fighting in this game with these enemies. And you'll see a lot of these type of obstacles you'll have to get past, jumping over cliffs to get to the other side, and you'll have to jump and time your jump perfectly. It's your typical platforming game, very generic. And let's see, let's move ahead a little bit. This was the level that made me pull my hair out. It made me want to just hit whatever I could find. It took me 2 nights to beat this one level. It took me 2 fucking nights. I mean, I literally pulled some of my hair out, and the pain that I felt when I pulled my hair out didn't compare to the pain I felt when I lost this level over 100 times. It took so long. And not only did it take long, but this game does not allow you to save at any point in any of these levels. The only time you get to save in this game is after you have beaten the level. And you get about 5 lives, and if you collect enough of these coins here, you will get a new life. It takes 50 coins to get a new life, so it's pretty hard to do. I think at the most you're probably only going to be able to get 2 lives if you don't die. And oh, this was so frustrating. And once I beat this level, everything else was easy. Every boss fight, even the last boss fight of this game, makes this level look easy. I don't understand when you're a game programmer. I don't understand why you would make the middle level of the game the hardest part of the game. Wouldn't you think logically that you would make the last boss fight the hardest part of the game? But no, they didn't. Apparently logic is lacking with these guys. And you collect these keys to move on at the end of every part of the level. These fruit keys, which I don't know if they're like part of the FDA, if they're the developers of this game were trying to promote healthy eating. But yeah, you collect these fruit keys, you move on through this level. And one of the most frustrating things about this level is you are basically forced to use the bow and arrow. And because you use the bow and arrow, your enemies use bow and arrows as well. The game's length is very short. This is a game that you can beat from start to finish probably in about 6 to 8 hours. Possibly shorter than that if you're really good at it. You know, it took me probably about 4 days to beat, and that is including the frustrations in that one long level. But I think that the difficulty of that one level is made more bearable knowing that the game is so short, because once you beat that level, you've basically beaten the game. The final boss has become a cakewalk. Everything else in this game feels like a cakewalk in comparison to that one level that I pointed out earlier. Other than that, this is a decent game. This is not a bad game. I wouldn't give this game an F in terms of grading, but I would certainly not give it an A either. I would probably put this game right at a C. It's an enjoyable game at times, and then at other times it's like, what is this? It's a game that's worth $5 or less. It's worth trying, and if you get too frustrated, it's not worth your time. But I pushed myself to play it. I ended up beating it, and when I beat it, it felt gratifying. It felt good to know that I beat something that was pretty challenging. And you know, don't let the cover of this game fool you. This is not a child's game. This is not a breeze to play. But if you're the kind of gamer that likes platformers and you just can't get enough of platforming games, then get it. You know, it's worth the 6 to 8 hours worth of gameplay. So yeah, that's the review. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and goodbye, my friends.